All right, everybody, how are you doing? This is S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Thomas Show. This is episode number 189, and I'm going to call this episode Relationship Check Engine Lights. Relationship Check Engine Lights, because as we all know, if there's something wrong with your car, a lot of times way before it becomes a problem that's really expensive, or a problem that'll disable your car, or a problem that's a pain in the butt, the check engine light is on. It's a warning to tell you, hey, you might want to look at that. And relationships have those as well. Now, nowadays they call them red flags, but back in the day, I used to call them check engine lights. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I recently had some car issues. Right? Car was going well, and all of a sudden, some weird crap started happening, and some smoke started coming out of the car. And I'm thinking, oh man, this is going to be a super expensive repair. Oh, money I had saved for something else is going to have to go to this, and it's going to kill something else I was trying to work on. Oh, it's going to delay me. Oh, right. But I take the car to the mechanic. They diagnose it, and as it turns out, the repair will be hundreds of dollars, not a couple thousand. Thank goodness. Whoa. Right? Because when you have a problem and you can fix the problem, it's great. It's great. It's great. So I have that problem fixed, and I'm driving around, and then something else unrelated starts to go wrong with the car. And I'm going, man, what is this? It was almost as if it felt, you ever have somebody cheat on you? Right? That's what it felt. It felt like the car was cheating on me. It's like, I just invested in you, and you going to do me like that? That's what I was thinking about the car. I invested in you, and you going to do me like that? Because there was a check engine light on there, and I was going to get to it at the end of the week, right? But as it turns out, it was a problem that needed to be fixed right now. That daggone car cheated on me. I invested in that car. I put all my time in that car. I trusted that car. I needed that car. And it did me like that. You piece of crap four-wheel sucker. But do you not have those check engine lights when you're dealing with someone in a relationship? Of course you do. Right? If you go on the internet, you'll hear a bunch of Reddit stories. But I know, granted, a lot of them are probably just some writers trying to try out their stories. But it doesn't really matter because they're based on truth, and some of them probably are true. Right? Sometimes the check engine light comes on, and I know people who've had cars literally for a decade or so, and the check engine light was on for 9.5 years of that decade. And they were fine when they gave the car to someone else or they sold the car. It was fine. But I've also had people that have been in the same situation. They have that check engine light on, and then all of a sudden they get stranded in the middle of nowhere, and then I get a phone call. Could you come pick me up? Is it because of that check engine light, stupid? No. Yes, it is. Right? You ever seen the check engine light in your relationship? Because like I said, sometimes the check engine light's not anything serious, right? You can literally leave it on because it's a problem, but it's not really that big of a deal. Maybe this sensor's not working, and there's a sensor that you have in your car, and it'll burn more fuel than it should. So instead of getting 30 miles to the gallon, you get 24 miles to the gallon. Not really that big of a deal. Not something you have to worry about. You're like, man, I don't care. I don't drive anywhere but in the city anyway, so I don't give a crap about that. But a lot of times, you need to take a look and see what the light is actually about. I remember when there was a girlfriend I had that she was cheating on young me. Right? She was older than me because back in that time, I was so young when I started doing comedy. All the ladies I dated were older. Right? So I know what the signs are. But a friend of mine, who we'll be using in this example, hadn't been as experienced with dating as I had. Right? So he didn't see the problem. He saw the check engine light, but he didn't really pay much attention to it, right? Because sometimes, like I said, you think it's something bad, but it really isn't. I had a friend of mine almost get in trouble because we were doing a gig as another comic. We were doing stand-up back then. And we're going to a gig, we're driving by, and we get lost. Because back then, yes, I'm that old, F y'all. Back then, there was no Google. There really wasn't an internet. And you didn't have cell phones like that. So if you wanted directions, you had to walk up or drive up to a stranger and ask them. We're driving on the road. We see a hotel, motel. Holiday Inn. We go into there, and what happens? We see somebody behind the desk, and the guy's been there forever. And this is an older guy, right? And he knows all the roads backward and forward. The kind of guy that can give you the kind of directions that will literally not only take you from where you are to the place that you're going to go, but take you there 10 times faster than you can possibly think. So we walk up to the old guy and we ask him, hey man, we're coming from blah and we're going to blah. He goes, I can get you there. I can get you there pretty fast. All you got to do is take the floop-de-floop to the whoop-de-whoop. Okay. Now you're going to see a McDonald's, right? See the McDonald's? Ignore the McDonald's. Keep going past that McDonald's till you see a this, and there's a store called Floop-de-Bloopy, and you make a left there, right? You go exactly 17.5 miles. He gives these directions. He said, yeah. He says, and if you ever come back, guys, make sure you stay here. In fact, here, take one of these. And back in the day, I don't know if they still do it now, but people will literally give you a lot of promotional product. Like he'll give you a matchbook, a flyer, or anything that has the logo or the name of the business on it. And in this particular time, my friend had a cigarette in his mouth, and he saw that, and he gave my friend the lighter, which is a good move, because if he's using the lighter, he's staring at the name of the hotel, and people who are seeing him, you staying at that place, and then you know how it is, promotional. So he has a motel lighter in his pocket, leaves it in his jacket pocket. Some time goes by, right? And his lady is going through the closets, putting stuff into the dry cleaner. She takes his coat out of the closet. Oh, there's something in the pocket, because you always check the pockets before you put something in into the dry cleaner, right? And she pulls out a lighter from a shady motel off the side of the road. Ooh. She's never been to that motel with him. Ooh. And to her, she sees the check engine light. He must be getting it on with another woman. That dirty sassafras holds of fat. She finds him. She screams at him. They're fighting like cats and dogs. I wasn't there for it, but was described to me. Right? And he goes, hey man, if you don't believe me, you can ask S. Anthony. He was there with me. He goes, yeah, sure. I bet it was S. Anthony. It's probably some, and she used a derogatory term for women. And then when you were her, just call him. You trust S. Anthony, don't you? Yeah, I trust S. Anthony. If S. Anthony says you didn't do anything, I'll believe him, but I won't believe you, because they both told me she said that. He says, in fact, I'm gonna be on speakerphone, and I'm gonna have him tell me what happened. I'm not gonna ask him any questions. I'm just gonna start a conversation. You call him up, you start a conversation, and I'm gonna start talking to him. And then and if he just says what you said happened without any prompting from you, I'll believe you. Hello, it's Anthony. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, Bill wants to talk to you. Hey man, baby, small talk. My wife want to ask you something. I don't want to ask him anything. How was your gig at the Floop-de-Goop? Yeah, it was pretty good. But Bill did a good job. I did good. It was fun. It was a great gig. The funny thing was, man, it was hilarious, because we were out driving around. We got lost. I didn't even know, because I have never played that club before. So we got lost. Bill didn't know what how lost he gets. We wound up going up to this little nasty little hotel. I didn't even want to touch the doorknobs of this place. We had to go in there and get some directions. And and the guy behind the counter gives him this, like, the ugliest lighter in history. I can't believe that's the guy. I said, you want to promote your help with that ugly lighter? And I could hear her. You can hear her breathing angrily as I started as in the beginning of the conversation. But when my story, which was the truth, corroborated his story, which was the truth, I could hear the breathing go from angry to relax. Okay, and then all of a sudden her voice got soft. Hey, let's get. Okay, I'm gonna let you two guys talk. Okay, hey, she walks out of the room, and he takes me out speaker. Man, I'm so glad she called you, man. I'm so glad I was with you, because if I had gone on this gig without you, and everything that had happened, I would have gone to that motel without you, and I didn't. And I got that lighter, and she found the light. She would never believe me. I am so glad you suggested me for the show, man. Good Lord, man. She was mad at me, man. And that was the end of that. She saw a check engine light, and like I said, it was not that big of a deal. It was not a big deal. But sometimes the check engine light is a big deal. Oh yeah. I'm thinking right now, should I tell another story of something that happened to me, or should I use a story of something that happened to somebody else? Because I tend to tell, I've been around so long as a human, 5 decades plus, that I've had so many stories. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to save that story for later on, because I'm going to build an entire episode around my story. But I'm going to tell you the story of something that happened to a buddy of mine. And everybody but him. Now, we didn't actually see his girlfriend cheating, but she didn't even have just a check engine light. She had a check engine siren. She had a check engine fist that comes through the damn dashboard and hits you in the bridge of the nose intentionally. You ever just see somebody and you see the way they're carrying themselves, and you know they're cheating? Like, we would show up someplace and we would see her somewhere, and she was way all up in some dude's face, right? And she would catch one of us looking, and she'd wave, "Hey guys," and she'd have that look in her face like, "I'm so glad you didn't catch me kissing you," and then she shoos the other guy away like nothing, and the guy looks at her like, "What's going on here?" Because he just think he's getting it on with the hot woman, and she's trying to get rid of him because she doesn't want his friends to have evidence of that. But we have evidence. We saw you. The guy had his hand on your buttocks. And we're figuring out, we can't let our friend go out like that, because quite frankly, if she's cheating on him, she could be, he could catch something. You never know, right? So we're like, oh, dude. I said, let's not have one of us tell him. Since we were all here and we saw it, we're going to have to hit him with the collective truth. And we tell him. And at first he thinks we have ganged up to prank him, because that group of friends I had at the time. Oh, I still have those friends, but they're all spread all over the world now. But that's the kind of thing they would do, but never anything serious. They wouldn't prank you on something that would hurt you. Just kind of make fun of you a little bit. And we explained, "Oh, dude," and you're like, "Man, come on, man." And he just wouldn't believe it, right? He didn't even get mad. He just wouldn't believe. We just thought that the result of the prank that we wanted to do on him didn't come to fruition, so he just wouldn't believe it. "Man, y'all was pranking me. Get out of here." And he wouldn't believe it. Come on, man. How long you gonna do this joke? Just calm down. But when your friends who've never lied to you collectively tell you they were all there and saw something that at the very least talk to your lady, or see what's going on, or keep an eye out, that was the first check engine light. And it was flashing, and he didn't see it. Oh. Were there any other check engine lights, you ask? Well, let me think. Several, right? All of a sudden, she's gotta work late. Really? Dressed like that? Really? Oh, okay. I didn't realize that the sales manager needed to see the tops of your breasts. Okay, not a problem. He doesn't see that light either. Wait a minute, you weren't wearing that when you left. Oh, I took a change of clothes in case I spilled something. Seems like you spill something on your clothes every time you go out at night to have some of those meetings. Oh, really? He didn't pick up on that? Now, I know she was a spectacularly beautiful woman with a spectacular figure, and it's kind of hard when you have somebody that's so unbelievably hot to you, and you have access to their goodies, right? It's kind of hard to let them go, because you figured you can't do any better than that. That's what he's thinking. But there was so many red flags. Red flags. Red flags. Check engine lights. Check engine lights. Check engine lights. He goes away on a trip. Or so she thought. Right? Now, technically, in good faith, he was going away on the trip. But they call him and tell him, "Oh, you know what? We're going to have to postpone this trip. We'll just do it next week. Okay, sorry about that. I hope you guys didn't have any plans." That's what they told him. He didn't care. He was going to get paid anyway. So he grabbed something to eat for himself and for her. What a really considerate man he is. Got something great to eat? I got something for her. And he drives home. I'm going to surprise her. She's going to love it, because it's her turn to cook, even though I wasn't going to be there anyway. So, but it's going to be exciting. He pulls into the driveway. He walks into the house with 2 meals And it's great that he has 2 meals because, well, he can now serve those 2 meals to his girlfriend and the guy that's on top of her thrusting. Exactly. What this what's going and all that crap. Fortunately, he was smart enough not to beat the dude down, and he's not a woman beater, which is great, of course. The guy runs outside, didn't even let him get dressed. You can get dressed on your way to the car, Mother Jugs and Speedy. You know, he's describing what happened. We weren't there for it. But all the red flags were there. Your friends tell you she's going out late at night, going out dressed in one set of clothes with her breasts hanging out, coming back with a different set of clothes. You didn't even see her take the clothes out. Those clothes were someplace else. She had a stash of clothes in the car or in a hotel or wherever the heck it was. All the check engine lights were there, you silly goose. But just like a car, when the check engine light's going off and it's flashing, you better take a quick look and find out whether or not it's worth fixing the car or whether you have to scrap it. In my particular case with my actual car, it was not a big deal. They fixed the first thing, the second thing, not a problem. It had nothing to do with the first repair. It was merely a coincidence that this other thing became faulty. A coincidence, right? And I go back and they fix it. And that repair was ridiculously cheap. It was just some stupid punk sensor. And the guy just says, I can put this in right now, Mr. Tom. He opened up the lid, opened up the hood, says, there it is right there. Pulled it out. I got one right on the shelf. Put it in, bang, bang. And he goes, you send so many people to me. I get so many customers from you. This one's on me, sir. And I said, oh, okay, sir? He goes, yeah, man. He said, look, you send me 27 cars. I think I can give you a $30 sensor and plug it in 15 seconds and let you drive out. Besides, you already paid for another repair. Don't worry about it. And I drove away. It was not a major problem. It's like my friend with the lighter, check engine light. She saw a check engine light, and rightfully so. She didn't know where that hotel was. She knows she'd never been there with him. And even though he had never given her an indication, let's be honest, how many people have a spouse that didn't give them any indication that anything was going wrong, and then you find out everything was really wrong? All these divorces that happen, you think people got into a marriage going, you know what I hope? I hope 5 years from now we hate each other's guts and we argue over the dog. No. Right? So she saw a check engine light and she checked on it quickly. Right? This guy ignored the check engine lights and wound up without his girlfriend and some sheets he actually threw in the trash because that was gross. Now, as it turns out, he got rid of him. Well, if you walk into your house and some dudes on top of your girlfriend, you're on top of your girlfriend making animal sounds in your house, in your bed. Well, yeah, I think the relationship's over. He throws her out, not physically throws her out, but says, get your stuff and get out. She gets out. The funny thing is, the dude she was underneath was like, you ain't living with me. Right? But she got back on her feet, and later on, it's like one of those movies where the person does something horrible to somebody, and then they realize how bad it was when you see the look on the face of somebody who actually genuinely cared about you, and you're like, I can't do that to somebody else. I just can't. And they turn their life around, which is what she did. And this guy gets hurt, but now he has his radar up, and he checks all check engine lights. If there's a problem in a relationship, he jumps on it really quickly because he doesn't want to have to deal with any kind of weirdness like he just had to deal with. Because I've been there too. I've had my heart ripped out by somebody, and I didn't take it out on the women that I went after that. I'm not gonna. Somebody cheated on me back in 1997, and I'm gonna take it out on you in 2025. I'm not that guy. I'm just not. But I do know that if I see problems, I'll jump on them immediately. And I think that's a good way to live, isn't it? Right? Because you need your car, and if there's a problem, and there's a little problem, you jump on that sucker real quick, Jack. Jump on it real quick before it becomes a big problem. If you're in a relationship with somebody romantically and you see a little bit of a problem, jump on it real quick. If she feels like she's being neglected or he feels like they're being neglected, right? Jump on that real quick. Give them some time. If they feel that y'all aren't getting it on enough, jump on top of them and give them that good business so good they think it's Christmas. That's what you do. And even friendships. Friendships have those check engine lights, man. You call the person. Yeah, and I remember that happened to me with a buddy of mine. We hadn't talked in a while, and there was no animosity, no hatred, or anything like that. We didn't have anything bad to say to each other, but we hadn't talked in a long period of time. And I remember our last conversation was this lively, fun conversation, and I called him up, and we were on the phone talking, and the energy and the charisma that and the you have the chemistry, I should say, not charisma. The chemistry was just not there. Too many years had gone by, right? And we tried to call again, and it just wasn't there. And I realized the reason that friendship, which was lively and fun, was because of the distance, right? And he figured it out too. Boy, and he called me up, hey man, I said, I'm just gonna call it out. I'm just gonna call. I said, bro, our conversations on the phone, the last two kind of sucked, man. I said, back in the day, man, we used to have a good time, and we used to break each other's stones over the phone, have a good time, and all of that. And I said, so much time has gone by, right? I said, it's not like I don't have any ill feelings towards you. You don't have any ill feelings towards me, because I ain't got no feeling towards you. I have no problem with dudes who are grown men who can't make it to 6 feet tall. He roasted me. I said, no, and I smiled because I said, now that sounds like him. That sounds like what we would do. And I would go, okay. I'm gonna hit him with a quick little light fun roast, and because I laughed at his roast. And I said, yeah, can I ask you a question? He said, yeah. Are you still married? He goes, yeah. He goes, why would you think I'm not still married? I said, well, I know that your wife wears glasses, so she can see you. So, I mean, like, she has to look at you. And does she gets sick to the stomach, or, I mean, the kids are good looking. You sure they're yours? And that's not exactly what we said to each other. I'm just giving you a paraphrase. And that's how comics talk to each other. So we would just do stuff like that back and forth on the phone, and all of a sudden, over the course of time, the conversations started to become more lively, and we would sprinkle in a light roast, and I would sprinkle in a light roast, and we'd go back and forth, and all of a sudden we're laughing and having a great time, and it was like lighting the ignition, lighting the pilot light on the water heater. All of a sudden, that cold water started to become warm again, and to this day we're cool. Because we made the decision, hey, we can't let a friendship that is this cool disappear because of distance, because of time, because of families, because of commitments. You got to have friends, and you should enjoy your friends. And I've known this person since I was about 20 or somewhere around there, maybe even late teens. So why would I lose a friendship like that with somebody I care about because of some time and some distance? Right? I noticed the check engine light on the first phone call. It wasn't the same. We weren't the same people anymore. The people that the other person was loved and was friends with existed inside of us, but as we had gotten older and more mature, and the time and distance, it kind of watered down what was there. It was kind of like dust and soot over what made us friends in the first place. But then I called it out because I wanted to find out. Because if there was no way, if I called out what was going on, and we weren't able to reignite the friendship, at least I would know. And then I would go, okay, well, that friendship ended. It was cool, but that was a chapter, and that chapter is ended. But because I called it out, and we both acknowledged that the last two phone calls sucked, we haven't had a sucky phone call, and it's been a long time. Probably a lot older than a third of my audience. Right? So it's the same thing, man. Same thing with your health. Check the check engine light. As soon as you see a check engine light, bam, jump right on it, okay? I'm telling you this because I care about you, you silly gooses. I care about you. You understand? All right? All right. Now, this has been episode number 189 of the S. Anthony Thomas Show. Thank you very much for coming back. I appreciate you. I see the numbers. I see you coming back. I see you. And also I see you people coming over from YouTube. Thank you. I got a lot of subscribers on YouTube, and they're coming over and listen to both of the podcasts. I appreciate you. Much love to you all. Do me a favor, my friends. My name is S. Anthony Thomas. Google me. I'm everywhere. And mostly I would like you that are not listening to, that are listeners but are not people that are on YouTube, go check out my YouTube channel. Go subscribe to it. It's Mr. S. Anthony Thomas, M.R., and then my name, S. Anthony Thomas. Go check that out and go subscribe to that. I'm doing some cool stuff over there. But we have concluded today's episode. Much love to you all. Thank you, and I will see you again next time, my friends. Take care.